Let's talk about being real. Boy, being real seems so simple. And yet, it takes a lot. It takes a lot of courage. It takes a lot of balls, ovaries. I'm saying here the rewards of being real, right? But there's also the pains of being real. It's not easy to be yourself at all times in a big crazy pitch with a big company, or trying to not lose your shit with your kids, right? Like there's a big margin between the two. Yet that is what I'm talking about here. However, rewards, being real, comes with incredible rewards. So I want to. One of my biggest fears years ago was to lose my train of thought on a major stage as I spoke, as I do speak quite a bit. And this was my first TED Talk. And, finding a theme, writing, learning, and delivering a TED Talk is definitely not for the faint of heart. It is challenging. It will get all the skeletons out of the closet. It will get you, at some point in the process, it'll get you to your knees. And I know I have 2 under my belt, and that's what it does. So in this first one, in one of the videos, if this is your first video, if this is the first time we connect, then you may not know this, but I'm dyslexic. I have dyslexia as a human being. And for me to learn things by heart, it's a big challenge. So this was probably 2,800 words, somewhere around there, 3,000 words. I had to learn it by heart. It was a great talk. I'll put a link somewhere around here for you to watch. And I will tell you, it was 6 months of some of the hardest work that I have done in a long time at the time. And I knew this thing inside and out, top to bottom, left to right, reverse. I knew this thing inside and out. I was still petrified because my greatest fear, above death, was to look stupid in front of thousands of people. Which, of course, at that point, I made it about me. And it's not about me. It's about the message. But I know that intellectually. But when you're in it and you're panicked, I barely sleep. I barely slept leading up to the event. I would practice no less than 50 times a day. But when you practice in your living room in front of some teddy bears, it's really not the same, So, and in some of the practices, some of the judges, they were giving us feedback and all that. And he'd be like, well, Isabel, people will laugh here, so you need to leave a bit of space for laughter around here and around here. And all I could say is, well, laugh, and I will. I will. As human beings, we stop when people laugh. That's that, right? I'm also really good on the fly. Like I'm a good spontaneous speaker. Of course, all my talks have plans, and I've got scripts and certain things, but this was like when you're with an audience, normally you can laugh and then talk to so-and-so at the same time a little bit and then come back. And it's not how it happens in a TED Talk. You've got a countdown in front of you. You got to get to the red dot, pause. You can't just laugh and have fun with the audience before, because this is all recorded, right? So anyways, so just before, as the person introduces me to go on stage, I tell the person that's miking me, I say, is it too late to back out of this? Is it too late to back out of this? Of course it was, right? But anyways, as soon as I step on stage, because I always forget the power of the audience, right? So as soon as I step on stage, I feel like I'm at home. I'm being real. And within the first 5 minutes, it goes super well. But then it goes so well that I ad-libbed one sentence. I just added something. I had just shared something pretty dramatic, and I just said, Now, remember, I was 9 years old. That was pretty traumatic. But I never said that phrase before in my talk. So now I'm completely derooted. I'm like, oh, what the hell comes after that? I don't know. My biggest fear, and my talk's about worry, diminishing worry. So, the irony of this does not go unnoticed. I worried a ton leading up to it about the one thing I don't want to go through. And here it is, I'm going through it. So now I'm in the Queen Elizabeth Theatre, which has 3,000 seats. I'm in front of 3,000 people, plus thousands streaming live online. And my worst nightmare is upon me. I do not know where to go from here. And now I'm like, and where does that go? This is exactly what I said on stage, right? I'm standing there feeling butt naked. These nightmares you have when you're kids, you go to school naked and you don't know where to throw yourself. Anyways, I don't know about you, but I had those dreams. And so this is what I feel like. I feel like I'm naked in front of all these people. My heart's beating down my throat. And I go, what am I going to do? I chose being real. I didn't know what else to do. So I said, and where does that go? I don't know. Now, I realize that the audience is thinking, because I'm committing to being real here. So I realize that they're thinking that that's still part of my thing. And so I go, oh, no, you don't understand. I do not know where this goes. I hope it comes back to me, but I have no idea. So now the audience clued in that I was in trouble. I was drowning in the deep end. But what they did is, we love you, Isabel. You got this. But because I made jokes and I was real, I won the audience. Not only did I win the audience, it got me a bit more relaxed. But my brain was going, what comes after that phrase? I don't know. And then at some point, someone in the audience, a friend of mine that had practiced with me no less than 1,000 times. Now, my wife, Margarita, had practiced with me. She knew this thing more than I did. But she was so panicked in the audience, like going, oh my God, Isabel's going to walk off a stage. She's going to go put herself in a ball and cry for the next 10 years. Which, of course, no, I would not have done that. But because she knew how much this fear had me by the balls, And so basically, someone, my friend from the audience, threw me a lifeline. She said, the phone rang. And I went, now I knew where I was at in my script. So I got off the red dot. I went a little closer to the audience and I said, and that's why it pays to have friends practice with you throughout this process, something like that. And then I went back to my red dot, and then the phone rang. And then, of course, the whole audience laughed because they knew they were there. Now, in the real TED Talk, they've cut that out, except for the fact that when I say, and the phone rang and everybody laughs, if you didn't know the story behind it, it's really well put together. You would never know. But for the people who were there, they had a nice little treat of having someone just completely lost in their script. The point is, I owned it. I owned it. I owned the fact that I could have turned around. I could have left the stage. I could have started crying. There's a variety of different things I could have done. But I put my big girl pants on, and I just owned the fact that I was lost and that I needed a lifeline. And what that did is, first of all, it got rid of a massive fear that I have, because I know that if I can recuperate with dignity and with gumption and confidence from screwing up in front of thousands of people live at a massive theater, I can pretty much do anything, right? So being real saved the day. People came to see me after and went, oh my God, you've given me wings. I know that I can do that now, because if I saw how you did, right? In screwing up, I know that you can come back from that. And so I use this example a lot when I speak to young women, young men that actually want to become speakers. I use this example because that's what people fear. But the same is true for anything you do, anything I do. The fear of failure is real. You know, you don't want to do certain things because you're afraid of falling flat on your face for the world to see. And being real wins the game, always. When you're real, people get comfortable. You know, I've been in audiences where in fact, that day, there's a few people who missed and did not know where they were at. And some of them made the audience feel really awkward, you know, and it's so easy to do that. It's hard to go through that. Yet when it's real and you go into your full vulnerability, there's no way to lose from that. People connect with you even more. And talking about your fears, talking about the mishaps and the failures is how we learn. I was raised with entrepreneurs that talked about their pitfalls all the time. So for me to talk about what's not going well in our pitfalls is part of my DNA because I was raised that way. But I realize that that's not the norm, right? So what I'm wanting to say here is being real is hard. It's vulnerable. It's not pleasant to reveal yourself naked in your lowest of lows or in the bottom of the pit of your fears. But it brings so much rewards. It brings lots of rewards. And that's what I wanted to share. How important it is to own the fact that you are not confident. Own the fact that there's moments that you're mad. Own the fact that there's moments that you just want to cry. I have cried at team meetings, and I'm the leader of this organization. Was it pleasant? No. Was it vulnerable? Hell yes. Was it worth it? Yes. Yes. You know, my team got closer. They got closer to me, closer to one another. Being able to now share what's going difficult, their difficulties for them, right? So my point here is lead by being real and by owning the good, the bad, and the ugly in the being real. That's it. Hope that resonated. If you have any stories, any comments, anything that you would like to share around a vulnerable moment of yours that forced you to be real, or maybe a vulnerable moment that you weren't real, that you should have been real, I would love to hear from you, because we all learn by learning from one another. So looking forward to hearing your thoughts and your gems. And if anything resonated from me here, I'd love to know. Cheers.